But now I've created an object, if I'm looking at this, that satisfies the basic needs. I've got a class that has 3 pieces of data, initialization method. Um, I'm updating the rating and printing the info for the song. I took care of that with the string method and also with the setter for the rating. Now I need to create an array that stores the songs and objects. Okay, so I'm just going to comment that out in case I want to use it for testing later. But in my main program, now that I have the class finished, I can say li movies is an empty array. And then I need to create functions for adding and removing. Okay, so those don't go in the class. They're not class methods. They are out here because I'm acting on this data by adding this. So in the main part of the program, I'm going to define a function, add movie, and in that, I'm going to say str name equals input. Give me a movie. And then I'm going to say int year, or y for year, input equals what year was it born. And then I'm going to say str rating equals input and how many stars. And I'll say that so people know what the star is. Now, before I create an instance of CL Movie using this data, I would want to check to make sure that my star string is valid. Luckily, I can use the same logic that I used in the class for that. So if I want to, I can go back up here into the setter and say, oh, well, this is how I decide if that is a valid string or not. So I can use that same logic to make sure that my stars are correct here, but I'm not going to do that right now. And I'm going to say li movie. Let's just pretend I checked that. Dot append. It's li movies. There we go. Append. And I'm going to append CL movie. And I'm going to give it the name, the year, and the rating. Okay? You added, let's print a movie. And we will give it strn, the name, and we'll just call it at that. Okay, so there's my add movie. And I need parentheses there, even though it's not going to get any parameters. Okay, so DEF. I need one that says list movies, because that's one of the things, and I'm also going to need to list movies. Okay, so view songs, remove song. I need to use the view in my remove, so I might as well do this now. This is how I will list the things in my list a useful way. I'm going to say int index equals 1, and then I'm going to say for object movie in li movies, print, and I'm going to say int index OB movie, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to say int index plus equals 1. So when I want to list movies, let's just really quickly manually append a few. So I'm going to say li movies dot append, and then I'm going to add that one, and we'll add one more. Okay, and that's 5 stars, obviously. Okay, so now if I say list movies, let's run that. Print my, oh, that's why I got an error. Okay, so now let's run that. Okay, so look at, all I did was add a number in between these, or in front of this, and then I can use that to easily remove a movie from the list. I'm going to show you this one last thing, and then I'm going to turn you loose on this. So I'm going to say def remove movie, and so we're going to first list movies, and then we're going to say int remove is going to be int, and we'll get input. We'll say what number to remove. They're going to enter a number, and I'm going to turn that into an index by subtracting 1. And then I'm going to say li li movies dot pop, and then I'm going to use the index to pop that from there. And I'm going to say OB removed, because when I'm popping something off of there, I'm popping an object. So that object actually becomes one of those. It's still part of that class, or still is that class. I can say OB or print F string OB removed dot str name was removed. Okay, so if I say now remove movie, okay, I can say what number do I want to remove. So remember, these are in a list. So this is index 0 and index 1. I have them labeled 1 and 2. So if I enter 2 for Goonies, that's index 1. So I enter 2, I subtract 1, which means I'm referring to the index, and then I use that to pop Goonies from the list, and it says Goonies was removed. Okay, so if I list the movies again after that, then we can see that Goonies is no longer there. So let's remove Top Gun. Top Gun was removed, and then when I list the movies, that's there. So this stuff seems complicated because it's new and it's in a new context. But the stuff that we're doing isn't really any different than what we've already done with lists. It just feels more confusing because we're storing objects in a list and we're dealing with objects. But when we pop an item from a list of objects, the thing that we pop is still an object. So we can still get the information from that object just like we did before. So this is the starter, or some hints at what you would do for this playlist assignment. And realistically, all of the functions and the objects now are created for this. All I have to do is put together the menu structure that's going to say, choose 1 to list things, choose 2 to add a song, to choose 3 to remove, that sort of thing. And that's all stuff that we've done before in the class. So that's kind of the bones of this assignment. And then putting it all together is all that's left. Okay, I'm going to let you work on that. And we will have one more class session on object-oriented programming. That's module 15, where we'll take this just a little bit further. And one more assignment in module 15. And then following that, we're going to get into the fun projects in the semester. And we'll do image editing and graphical user interfaces and games and data science. So there's some fun stuff to look forward to for the remainder of the term. We just got to get through a couple more object-oriented lessons and assignments. This is the toughest part of the term, but we will continue to use this information as we get into some of those more advanced topics. So that's it for today. And I will put this code on Canvas in the code repository so you can look at it.